is Shelley Lewis, and I'm sure that all of you are very anxious to meet our guest tonight, Martin Boozer, and we'll let him jump up here in just a little bit, but of course we have to hit a few highlights of what he's done, although most of you are probably very well versed in some of his accomplishments. We were very pleased that he would come and are thrilled that you guys came to join us, and want to welcome a few of the people that we think are here. I know that we had a few of the ISU vet students sign up. Is there anyone? There's the vet student row. And I think he has done some studies on canine stomach ulcers and some work with that, so I think that's a great thing that they're so close and can come down and enjoy some of this. Teachers. Nice group of teachers doing all the really good things for the kids to keep them interested in some things and bring them a different culture that they're not used to, certainly here in central Iowa. So welcome to all of you folks. I know we've got some forum members and chat list members. And plain mushing fans, although I don't think anybody is plain that does some mushing. So, and just friends and family and folks that are very enthused to be here. You're going to get a lot of questions.
Excellent.
And as you all know, this is Martin Boozer. He's from Big Lake, Alaska. His family owns and manages Happy Trails Kennel. And it sounds like he spends a lot of his time working with his dogs, as well as going out and speaking to youth and other organizations about the very positive things and humanitarian care of his animals, as well as probably sharing a lot of the spirit of the Iditarod with the folks that he meets. I think most of us know, and we're hoping for 5, currently a 4-time winner of the Iditarod and holds the record for the fastest time in finishing. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. 8 days, 22 hours, 46 minutes, and 2 seconds.
Only 2 people know that.
And just a couple little comfort things here. I'm going to do this and then I'll turn it over to him because you don't want to hear me talk. Restrooms are just past the main entrance. Just check with the security guard and he'll buzz you in. Just around the corner and to the left is coffee and ice water. And at the end of this, we've got cake, snacks, lunch. So we'll have a little get-together outside when he's all done for more questions. As some of you saw, I want everybody to take a moment to take a look at the very far end of the table, or the first thing that you saw when you came in, and sign some of the things that are out there. So we're going to do those here at the end. And then we had talked a little bit about helping the Happy Trails Kennel get a little farther down into the year. Might buy a bag of dog food or 2. And any donation that you feel like making can go in this little black bag here at the end. Does anybody have any quick questions for me as far as location or anything else? Great. Here's Martin.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I might as well put my cell phone away here. I appreciate the diversity of the group, and because of that, we probably should start with a little bit of an introduction and maybe a few questions. I can get into some pretty deep detail if you want me to. So I feel there is no question that should not be asked, because the knowledge level or the information is so diverse in a room like this. And parents, if you need to leave with a kid, feel free to do that. People that have driven a long way, if you fall asleep, I only wake you up when you start snoring. I don't take any of that personal at all. So we raised a couple of kids, and some of us just talked about my younger boy last year, Randy Iditarod, and ended up now being on a chat line, and that's an act of Congress getting him to put more than 2 words together. So, so you guys can do more than the parents can do. But I think fun is my middle name, so I need to have a good time no matter what I do. And in gatherings like that, we hopefully can be as informal as we need to be, and it's always a lot of fun. I'm on Alaska time, so I probably will stay awake longer than any of you guys, and unfortunately some of you have to work for a living. It's a really bad habit to have. It gets into the time with the dogs very much, you know. So, but it does, of course, help pay the bills. So, I appreciate the students that have studied the Iditarod in school, and that's always a highlight when we can share some more in-depth information. Often I'm surprised how much people know about my dogs or myself, and that of course is in part because my wife Kathy keeps a pretty detailed website up and running, and especially now that she, after I think 25 years of classroom teaching, she became my full-time manager, part-time teacher, and she has all kinds of other side jobs, but I very much appreciate her involvement in the kennel, and have for over 25 years, of course. At first mostly behind the scenes, but now more in a manage Martin mode, because my schedule has been getting a little crazy the last few years, and it's nice to have somebody arrange the travel and make the plans, and unfortunately learn to say no. You know, there's only so many schools and only so many things you can do, and you have to pick a paying appearance and balance it out with a pro bono appearance. And I'll just tell you a quick story about one of my appearances in a school that struck me as pretty funny. The principal called me up. The town is Shaktoolik, which is a little Eskimo town on the Iditarod Trail, and I was invited to become the commencement speaker, and of course you don't turn that down. You can't say, no, I'm not coming. At the same breath, the principal says, but we have to let you know that you're not our first choice. Which is sort of an interesting statement, you know, and within the same breath he says, but Michael Jordan was busy. So I felt elevated. That was a pretty big honor. If you know anything about Alaska sports, there's 2 sports. One is indoor, and that's basketball. Even the short Indian and Eskimo kids love to play basketball, because most villages, even if it's only 60 or 80 people in the town, they have a big gymnasium. So hoops is huge. So I was invited to go to Shaktoolik and give a commencement speech, and of course it's a 2-day trip. You fly to Unalakleet with the regular size prop plane, and then you hop into a mail hopper, you know, and then finally you're there, and then the reverse is the same. Graduating class was pretty exciting. He was about 18 years old, and he was and in order to make a ceremony out of it, of course we're having 200 people, which is every soul in Shaktoolik in the gymnasium. So they graduate the kindergartner into the 1st grade and make a big deal about it, and then the 3rd grader goes into 4th grade, and so we make a huge celebration out of it. I gave a little commencement speech and tried to make it pertinent to the student that is now moving on to another important part of his life. And so I do a lot of little things like that, and I feel privileged and a great honor when I'm invited to do those sort of things. And this gathering kind of happened along the way. I was asked to maybe give a few insights to what I do, and I'm one of the happiest guys in the world, because I get to truly do what I love doing. You know, if you find your passion, and that goes not only to young people, but if you find your passion and you can make a living at it, or scrape a living together, you never feel like you're going to work. My days kind of consist of the first 8 hours I work at my hobby, which is my dogs. Then the second 8 hours of the day I work at my job, which is training dogs and scooping and cleaning and all that. So I get a good 16-hour day in every day. Yet often I never leave my home or my surroundings. The good days, like I say, are the days I go out the back way. And I can go from my house to Nome without crossing the road. So you will see some pictures on how diverse the trip to Nome can be and is. And of course, I don't know much about it. I've only done it 26 times so far.